Hey, welcome to the Road and Morale podcast. So do you ever feel like screaming out in the office, on Zoom or outside the school gates? For the love of God, come on, really? Then if this is you and you're looking for an honest, fun and frank podcast on life and business, then sit back and listen to me, Rona Morale. I'll be bringing great people on the show to talk, share and debate their life experiences and business challenges, keeping the show unpolished, but in a fun and unique British style, with sarcasm, tenacity, or maybe a few swear words or tears. This podcast keeps it real, honest, raw, and removes the bullshit in the only way I know how, through authenticity and getting shit done. Think of it less like the Housewives of New York or Towie with the lipo and drama, and more like the house and lives of the real world. I hope you'll take something away to be better informed, laugh, smile, or maybe even finally getting the confidence to shout, come on really. So enjoy. Hey, hi Will. Welcome to the Road and Morale podcast. How are you?
Spectacular. Yeah, very good, thank you.
Good. And unlike us in England, who are all moaning and whinging of heat, how are you?
Yeah, I'm quite blessed. I'm not going to mention where I am or what I'm doing, but no, I'm lucky. Yeah, the world seems to be boiling or burning in some places or freezing in others, but we're on good feet. Yeah, thank you, Rona.
Fantastic. Well, listen, for the listeners, I'm delighted to have Will with me today. We have a mutual friend and journey sort of really started in Bali. But what most interested me about yourself is obviously how you started your journey with some buddies through the Prince's Trust and as a mentor there. I was just really wanting to explore how that journey went for you, how it worked out, and where you are today with the incredible Elevation Barn and all the philanthropy that you're currently doing. So if it's okay, I'd love to hear a little bit about how that journey started with the Prince's Trust.
Awesome. Yeah, it's an honor, to be honest, to be able to support the journey that the Prince's Trust sort of allowed us to follow. The trust came in with a grant to Attic. Attic, ATTIK, was this small boutique graphic design company led by two brilliant entrepreneurs, James Somerville and Simon Needham. And they were awarded a £1,000 grant by the Prince's Trust in Huddersfield to launch their small agency in their grandmother's attic, which was the only sort of base place they could afford, to get them on their feet, to start them down the path of being able to manifest the creative passions and self-belief that they had. I was a business graduate in the same town, and I joined them several years into their journey as an intern, and then to become a partner later in the date, expanding their business internationally. The Prince's Trust actually gave the confidence, it kind of gave that badge of honor, that sort of wings of self-belief to the business that I don't think they would have had without it. Prince Charles was very engaged with both Simon and James, welcoming them to Buckingham Palace and to introducing them to their children, etc., and embracing what the trust stood for in a way that made Simon and James feel they could do anything. Yeah. And those were the kind of partners I was looking for to help propel my belief. I'd come from this sort of northern upbringing in Burnley, where, you know, I've been told I was thick all my life at school because I was dyslexic and ADD, and I didn't realize that my inabilities weren't just my inability to be as good as the kids at my school going to Oxford and Cambridge. It was just that I couldn't learn it the way and in the sense that they did. And the Attic guys gave me wings to put that self-doubt aside, right? Which came from the DNA of the trust. I feel that it didn't matter what you wanted to achieve, you could achieve it. And that really just set me off on the right trajectory for life. It's about who you have alongside you. And the trust was always alongside us as this badge of honor, as I said, to help know that we had that sort of blue blood connection of what we were doing was the right way to go.
It's quite interesting because with some of the young people that I help, they'll often sort of say, I'm not too sure about this, and maybe I'm too young. And I'm like, my God, if I could tell myself anything at my age and look back, I'd be doing what you're doing now, and actually having that credibility of the Prince's Trust, and like you say, that kind of push that says we believe in you, and here's why. And it's not like, I know what they have to go through. I've seen the business planning process, the presentations. It's not just a rock up and see if they like you. So they really are setting them up for business life, but giving them the credibility and that little bit of financial help.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, it wasn't a big financial help, but it was big enough then to say that somebody else, especially to two designers that, we're not usually seen as the people VCs or, equity companies support, because we're a risk. There's the creative side. And this was before Mac was out, where Mac was heralding design and creative thinking in technology. The artists were often seen as the sort of the crazy ones.
Yeah.
It was also quite timely as well, because I joined the company when I was 21 out of university. And by the time I was 24, the bolstering of the great work Simon had done with London and James had done with Huddersfield gave me the confidence to expand the company to New York.
Right.
With friends Cy Dixon and Rachel Bradley and Sean Rowley then. And the four of us had that belief that Cy and Jim had taken from the trust as well, to say, yeah, go to it, be on it, take this with you. And so we expanded to New York City, and within 2 years, we'd become one of the hottest design shops in the States.
Wow.
That meant we then had to expand to San Francisco, where we moved and expanded the agency there to work on Nike and Columbia TriStar and Warner Brothers and some of the coolest brands on that coast, which then gave us the support and the confidence to expand to Sydney, Australia, where Cy Needham then went over, and Dave Taylor led the force, and Errol Flanagan and Mark Stott, and a task force of great people to really drive the expansion of the business. And it's like that rolling snowball. Once you just need the starting piece, and just keep rolling. And you may hit some walls and you may hit some problems, but if you can keep rolling, you will get there.
And did the guys, did they at the time, was there a mentor helping them, or were they just, because obviously not every mentee gets to meet Prince Charles and be welcomed to the palace and things like that. What was it they were doing that that was kind of giving them that pathway, or was it just because it was in its infancy then?
Well, I think they also, a lot of the businesses that were starting and being fueled by the trust were sort of traditional businesses or new tech innovations. To be the cool creative shop, both the lads had big Mohicans and crazy hair and nail polish and eyeliner. They were going down, the sort of cult directive coming out of Batley Art College. They gave the kudos that it was cool to be creative. And that actually gave a huge springboard for me to take the company to America, because I was on this cool Britannia wave back in the early 90s. That was late 90s. That was really helpful. I remember going to do our first presentation to ABC, who are owned by Disney now. And we were actually pitching, I was on my own, and I was pitching against 8 other agencies to rebrand a brand called Monday Night Football. And I didn't even know what American football was. I thought Red Stripe was an American beer, and we'd watch the Super Bowl and wrestle and stuff. And I did the presentation. They called us afterwards and said, that was probably the most ignited, impactful presentation we've had, and we love it. We'd like to award you the business. We have to admit, we didn't understand a word you said the whole presentation. And I think, but it didn't matter. It was just like they knew I believed in the creative and what we could do and where we could propel it. We'd created a series of books called Noise. Right. The first book was a newsletter done in metallics to make noise so I could help sell and push the business, because I needed some vehicles to help show what we did. And it was a combination of that and these Christmas calendars that people would clamor over to keep and put on their wall, where we'd experiment with creative thinking and production techniques. Dave Taylor would push these to the highest level with people like Richard Dempster. And these books became a door opener like you would never believe, because they were an illustration of what we believe we could do with our art, without the restriction of a client budget and without the restriction of a specific brief. And it was like, put wings on your back, do the best of your abilities and your capabilities, and really let fly with your talent. And that's been a manifesto for me since my childhood, is that just align yourself with the best in class, stand back from the wall so that you can see ways around it, over it, or under it, and then just arm yourself with the best skills to be able to get there. And the upbringing and the support from the trust, as well as the belief of the team, was palatable. We would walk in and take over events, like Promax, where there was exhibits of our design capabilities. But people would like, who is that group of people? They look so, engaged. They're like a little clan of belief, of talent. And that became a vortex of attracting other great talent like Sonia Lambert, and people that had these incredible design skills, Monica Perez, Joe Gallegos, people that were just like, wow, we'd never be able to hire them if there wasn't that vortex, that pull, because other big agencies would outbid us and outperform us.
And so you said earlier about when you were at school and people would, call you thick and you had ADHD. When you obviously then went on to university, what has those kind of that was sort of slated, what benefits have they given you on your journey since going through the attic?
Yeah, well, the people, the doubters, the people that were, naturally, it's survival of the fittest, right? It's this, how can I be the hero's journey of my life? And there's always ways around. If you're called thick, you may be more creative. If you're introverted, you may be a better storyteller. You find different ways. It's like one of those balloons you squeeze. Your being doesn't disappear, it goes somewhere else. And the key is to be able to divert your energy to build on strengths. I'm a brother of 3 older sisters and the father of 3 daughters, and so my upbringing, where this is going, my upbringing in my life now is I don't actually get a chance to speak that often. And I certainly didn't as a child.
Oh, brilliant.
Especially with a very powerful mother and the grandmothers that were there. And so I went away to school because it was to Lancaster Grammar, which was spectacular. Even though I failed and I was the worst student they ever had, they gave me a sense of pride and ability in what I could be. And that was just pick on one strength you've got. And I have the ability to be self-believing. And maybe that's out of ignorance to what I should or shouldn't do. But going to America with a suitcase and a portfolio didn't seem that crazy an idea. And it's taken me into climbing the highest peaks in Antarctica and Russia and motorbiking with the Dakar Rally. And I realized that if somebody else can do it, you can too.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think having children myself, you get to that point where you may see them at school or struggling, and it's so defined on these metrics that they have to hit, and yet I can already see these amazing other skill sets that aren't just given a grade, and it is frustrating. It's like how you can encourage, be it the mentees or your own children. It's like it's not all about that tick box, and you've got to get 70% here and 60% there. It's quite brutal.
Yeah, I got 12% in Latin. I don't even what the hell I was doing Latin for. I have no idea, but it was crazy, And woodwork was my favorite subject because I wasn't judged as much, because as long as it came out looking like a bowl, it was a bowl.
Yeah.
But also it's how you're perceived, and when you're going into these different worlds, you can really, if you've got the right mindset, you can achieve where you want to go. And America basically showed it to me, because people immediately thought, you've got to, if you're in a pond and you're self-doubting, you've got to get in a different pond.
Yeah.
And that could be a relationship you're in. If the person doesn't believe in you, is self-doubting, oh, that you shouldn't do that, you're not good enough, then maybe you shouldn't be asking that person for your support or getting the guidance on where you should go. They may be a great partner or somebody they love, but maybe the wrong kind of thing. Same with the belief on where you can actually put your wings on and what inspires you. So spend time with people that inspire you into areas that you don't feel you're in now. Yeah. How can you move towards that so you feel that you're handheld there? You don't just jump.
Yeah.
There's always somebody guiding and supporting and driving you to that directive. And that's realistically why I started it, instead of retiring after doing Attic and then going into Dentsu and then doing Sidley, instead of retiring, I was like, we need to create a place where people can really celebrate their self-belief, their super talents, and then unite them with others to help them really get there and propel where their careers are going.
And I can imagine actually going to the States, relatively young, like you say, suitcase and a pitch. That the actual natural vibe of the States, they're all very self-believing. They've got a lot of high energy. And so you probably felt, did you feel it easy just to be, you thought kind of, well, no one knows me, so I've got nothing to lose?
It's interesting. When I was testing, I basically stole the Yellow Pages when I moved to New York when I was 24 and went back to Huddersfield with it. And I would work my day as an account manager and helping grow the business from new client opportunities. And in the evening, I would telesale companies and say, hey, I'm Will Travis. I'm from this incredible design company in the north of England. I'm coming to America. Would you see me? And I'd love to show you what we're doing. Yeah, sure. Why not? You sound different. That's a good start. And I can give you an hour of my time. And then once I got 20 people saying, yeah, I'd see you, I'd make the trip.
Right.
So I'd make up I was doing it and bolstering it. What was interesting is when I came to America and I compiled, I went to see MTV and NBC and all these cool brands. My sister Debbie really helped me introduce me to a lot of television network people because that was her sort of business area. What was really interesting is once I'd compiled that collective and then moved to America, nearly all those businesses that said they would support me didn't.
Right.
It was the businesses once I was on the ground that then supported me. So you have to be wary that people on one side want to be associated with success and therefore want to be in the party and will encourage you, to other people that are more calculated but will support you in your success later on.
So did you get a sense of, oh my God, this is, I thought I got all these big names, all these people, and now none of them. Was there a bit of a moment where you thought, shit?
Yeah, there was a few moments but it's like if you fall through the ice. If you fall through the ice, where you make the mistake is you pull your arms and your legs in and you duck in together. If you fall through the ice, you spread out. You put your arms as wide, you even try and lie on the ice to try and spread your weight out from it being the end. Yeah. And that's what I did. I would hammer the phones and find more opportunities. I would ensure that there was at least 6+ opportunities on the table. So if 5 didn't work, there was still enough to get by.
Right. Yeah.
And
a bit of a numbers game then.
It's a total numbers game. And many people go, oh, you were lucky, or you make your luck. You're presented opportunities constantly. The key is a lot of people spend their heads down. They're looking for inspiration on devices. They're looking for inspiration by other people's successes and trying to get on their coattails. If you lift your heads up, you will see opportunity after opportunity. The key is to be in different ponds and the right ponds where opportunities exist. I'm upstate New York at the moment. There's not many things going on around the home other than deer and fish. I'm not going to get anything if I'm sitting here hoping something lands through the roof on me. I've got to get in the mix. I've got to be in the city. I've got to be on the phone. I've got to be on Zooms. I've got to be connected. And that's what it was like in the early days being in America. Yeah. We created a sort of a hype of activity. And what that does is, again, like the talent creates the vortex of people want a red rope. People want to feel that they want to get in. They want to get connected to what you're doing. But the key is you've got to keep swirling the water to allow that natural draw, because people naturally expect others will feed them. Then we're naturally herd animals, so it's easier to follow somebody else. It's only those that often go through some trauma or are forced into acting that actually do it for themselves. Yeah, they have no choice, you know. And so you got to put yourself in that situation where you become self-sufficient, unless you're lucky enough to have somebody that is making the self-sufficiency feed you.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the things that you know, we'll talk a little bit more actually about kind of your philosophy of kind of taking that step back and looking inwards in a bit. And I think one of the things I'm always sort of saying to the mentees is about kind of building that resilience and just simply asking. And actually, a lot of the time when you ask, and you ask with authenticity and honesty, most people will listen, or they'll give you the time, and you'll often get yeses. But we have such a fear, and like you said earlier, when your head is in the detail, you've got a million emails to answer, you haven't got time to have lunch, you're going to have coffee, through an intravenous drip. I think there's so many of us in whatever career that we're in, as an entrepreneur or as just starting out, we don't see those signals because we're just so busy. So obviously, kind of, you moved on from Attic and you went through some other businesses. Tell us a little bit about this passion around kind of taking that step back and how you created the Elevation Bond and what it does for people.
So there was one lesson and rule that I applied at the businesses I was lucky enough to be within. And I was lucky enough to take CEO kind of roles there, not because I was the best in the operations. I'm terrible in the kitchen. I'm better at the vision and the passion and the belief. Yeah. I'm a true believer of being half full. Absolutely. I lost my father at 6 months, my mother at 18. But I never felt the pity of not having that system, because I was surrounded by half full sisters and grandparents and people that were like, shut up whinging, stop complaining about it, just do something about it and get on, right? The philosophy and the big realization I had in those companies was that you cannot do it all yourself. No. If you're a creative, you shouldn't be selling or navigating the client. If you're navigating the client and you're selling, you shouldn't be doing the creative. It's about partnership. It's about not a hero's journey. It's about a kindred quest of what you can do with other great talent. The critical thing is understanding what you love, what makes you happy, and what do you want to do with that? If you are authentically you, not the bullshit cloak of layering of what other people think you are, and what you think you should be because it's good for your ego and your image in the industry. If you can be the true little boy or the true little girl and build on that, then you will be happy. Yeah. The key is then to align yourself with other people that fuel that happiness and help you on that journey. I was in board meetings at the companies I was in, even the partners of the businesses I had. I didn't spend enough time to really understand them, to really understand what they needed, what they feared, what they wanted to achieve, personally, not just in business. Yeah. And that was a real eye-opener. Even when I was at my last agency and we'd sold it to a large, awesome company, we hadn't had the conversation of how you're feeling, feeling about where you're at. You've spent 20 years building this. Do we care about you, or are we just thinking about your pocket with the money we're going to get from this? And when I opened up those questions and realized the opportunity of helping each other, that was a first leg on the stool. The second was I helped launch this as part of the last company, an innovation conference. It became one of the hottest and is one of the hottest innovation conferences in the world, called C2 in Montreal. Right. And I was there to help launch it by drawing in more talent to talk on the stages, to bolster the brilliance of people like Jean-François Bouchard, who started it, and the Cirque du Soleil partnerships and the Quebec government. What surprised me was this incredible talent that was coming to talk but then not unite together to impact and do something. And all my career, from working with Emma Thompson on the SAFE project on human trafficking when I was younger, or when I was at Dentsu working on Meal for Two, where we were helping fund somebody else eat when somebody else was. I'd always wanted to help at a higher level. And the majority of things I was doing in the agency world was, oh, you can take an hour on Friday and let's try and do a campaign against anti-bullying or the homeless. Or things where people needed attention from our creative brilliance, but we only gave a snippet of it, usually to try and get something into the Cannes Awards show to show that we were really, authentically helping the planet. That was the second big leg on the stool that felt wrong. The third was I actually did a small retreat where I got 5 great friends together, and I said, I want to help you. You've all achieved, but you're all doubting certain abilities. I don't get it. I hadn't been given the space to self-doubt, even though I was. The older you get, the more you doubt. Because of wisdom, and you realize you don't know it all. Whereas at 21, you can crush it all. I realized that it wasn't those individuals that were self-doubting. They thought they were alone.
Yeah.
And when I got them together, they're like, shit, I thought it was just me. And then the fourth leg was realizing that the brand building process that I'd been helping propel the belief of products and services into the marketplace, which had huge stakes, companies spending millions on us propelling and making those brand magnetic to consumers so we buy them. I realized that process, if it was applied to a human who actually had characteristics and values that were authentic, we could make super brands. And those super brands are us. Every single person. We've had over 300 leaders from 46 industries in 16 countries unite together to be part of the Elevation Barn community. Every single one of them is awesome. And I've had billionaires to astronauts to probiotic experts to stay-at-home dads, to race car drivers, to bullfighters, to creative directors. Everybody is awesome. It's the world, and usually capitalism, that makes you feel that you have to crush others or you're not good enough.
Yeah, do you know, just even hearing you talk and, in those last few minutes, I'm sitting there going, that kind of, and you do just think it's so easy when things are rolling at such pace that the shit gets knocked out of you quite a lot, and you allow that. And I think as an entrepreneur, or as somebody who's a single entrepreneur, it's a lot easier and quicker for you to go down that rabbit hole because you're not surrounded by that energy.
And you're not taught to surround yourself by that energy. My claim to fame in the agency world was that I would get back up when I was knocked down. I was a second row in rugby, and therefore I was always used to being united with other people to get the ball over the line. So why in business was I the hero and then passing the ball to another hero? And why don't we do it together? And I really felt that there was an opportunity, because I was also looking at things like Tony Robbins, who does a great job in uplifting potential spirit. But when you're beating your chest and telling somebody to call their partner to dump them on a call and crush. Yeah. It just felt wrong. And naturally, as an introvert and as a creative heart and, that younger brother of 3 older sisters, it just felt wrong in my DNA that you had to use power and threat and thick-headed aggression to really celebrate, which should be a more feminine qualities of this natural ability to help be your best self, multitask, spread your weight, unite with others, and do great things. Yeah. So the Elevation Barn, going back to your original question, sorry, long way around, was after being in this firefight of leading multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporations and being that front person of driving belief in products and services, when I united with 5 other friends to realize what we wanted to do, I said, I just want to elevate the incredible potential people have
Yeah.
but in a barn raising capacity. And I want to unite them with other great leaders. Why? Because we don't have all the answers.
No.
By looking around corners through others' eyes or smoke jumping challenges that seem really impassable, but it is just that cloud.
Yeah.
We can propel so much quicker. It's really hard. It's embarrassing. It seems weak to say, what do you think? Oh, that's even better. The number of billionaire leaders I know that are all, yeah, I've got all the answers, but behind the closet, they're taking all the ideas from everybody else. We don't invent, we always evolve, but people just feel that they have to be the brand. That's why it's not named after me. It's about it's a united camaraderie. So the barn started with retreats here in America, on the East and the West Coast, expanded into Bali 2 years ago, and now expanding to Australia and to Europe and South America. But what I realized was once we'd actually help people regain their clarity of purpose and just ignite it and give them actionable tasks and processes to fish for themselves, not to be stuck on a line of having to be coached for the next year, but to take these wings, take that backpack of expectancy off, and now propel forwards on your own. But with the support of 5 other people that did the barn with you as brothers and sisters, because they're all mixed, they're all extremely diverse, there's age agnostic, in incredible places where you could really celebrate who you were without being disturbed or feeling like you're in an office, etc. Once we realized the potential of that group, we realized that they also wanted to apply their talents to things together. Yeah. So the barn has expanded not just to be an accelerator of human potential, but also a place of belonging where those accelerations could be fueling into a more of a mindset, into a philosophy. So the Elevation Barn is actually a philosophy of united, we can do what matters. We can be what matters to ourselves. And that may be saving the honey badger or being the best mum or dad, or being able to boil an egg, which is still one of my ambitions. It's the ability to be in that community. So the barn has now expanded into, you join through the retreat. You shouldn't join and no one knows who you are. You should join and we should discover what makes you happy. What are the strengths? How do you want to apply them? And how can we help you with that? So the barn retreats are actually an onboarding. And then we apply those talents through what we call the stable, which is, here's a specific business challenge. Which experts would like to unite behind that, because they're qualified to solve it for an inspired leader that needs help. Yeah. And we're working with brands like BlackRock and Gojek, Hughes, businesses of gravitas, round glass, that want to make a positive impact in the world. And also we have our labs where there may not be money fundraised business opportunities you want to get involved with, but you want to make a change of difference. So we've united with Dr. Sylvia Earles and Mission Blue, helping create hope spots of ocean parks to help conserve our oceans and our planet. Steve Boys with the Great Spine of Africa and the Wilderness Project, helping conserve our wetlands. Victor Pineda working with World Enabled, where cities should be accessible and open to those with disabilities. The Biosphere Foundation, where we're balancing what we're doing on land with the oceans. And people like Sea Change, who did the Octopus Teacher, my Octopus Teacher, and helping them expand their brilliant impact of emotional ecology. You know, how do we help an amazing program? It's an amazing playground. And for me, I was fortunate to get a taste of those different things in my career. I want to ensure that our community has access to celebrate their talents and apply them to challenges that matter, things that really do need help and support in the world. And nobody is better at doing that than the people from the creative industry, because it's all about the power of story. If people don't believe in what you're telling them and what you're doing, good luck. Yeah. But if the storytellers can unite with the people of science and action and change, then we will move the world forwards. And we haven't really tapped into that to the full potential yet. And that's where the barn's going, is how do we tap into a brilliant illustration of human potential, maximize human potential to make a difference.
And that for me is like a kind of euphoric moment. It's sort of, I love the idea of getting people, you may have someone from NASA, you may have someone from creative, you may have a doctor or a scientist, because you've got such opposing backgrounds, thought processes and training, the solutions that they can come up with and those what if scenarios that you just keep flipping and bouncing. You can just imagine being in that room and going, oh, I just would never have thought of it that way, or I'd never have thought of it that way. And like you say, it's a bit like an illness or depression or anything like that. You think you're on your own, but actually you're not. And so I think deriving that community and then creating, because for me it's all about, okay, you've got the tools, but it's the action bit that I most look for, and that's the bit that I'm missing when it comes to kind of philanthropy and the climate. It's like, how do you match all of those through, which clearly you guys are doing. But
I mean, it's interesting because and we learned this the hard way. I mean, I was so testosteroned up trying to prove myself when I came to America, and trying to be something, try to be loved and seen for being some form of success after kind of not having that as a child in the academic sense. I was totally loved, supported as a boy. But I went down the typical route, and, you know, by the time my aim was to be a millionaire by I'm 30, and, you know, it's like, what the fuck? And I did it. But in that process, in a 1-year period,
right,
I fucked up my marriage,
right,
lost my children who went home to England, and I was living in San Francisco. Then my back went because I wasn't thinking and looking after my body enough. So now I couldn't walk. The dot-com crash happened.
Yeah.
After the IT crash had just happened. So my business collapsed. I was under 9/11 15 minutes before, luckily just got out of that. It was like, could you put me down? Stop beating on me.
Yeah.
The world is collapsing. And it wasn't the world collapsing. I had just become reliant on one leg of a stool. And that was me being a business leader, as showing everybody I could be strong, and I could. And I nearly lost everything. You know, we went from 200 designers, me, Simon and Jim. We were in a tough situation. The Prince's Trust, taking it full circle, dream was about to go 100%.
Yeah.
I had to fly over, and I had to hold the hand of Dave and close Australia. I had to go over to New York and hold the hand of Jim and close New York. We had to close London. And suddenly we got Huddersfield and San Francisco, and we went from 280 of the world's best designers and creative thinkers down to 16.
Wow.
And it was like, someone has just popped the balloon. They let it down, and we let it be let down because we hadn't lifted our heads up. We hadn't been in collaboration with the right people. We brought in a great finance guy, Rick Peralta, who then became a partner, who helped slap us and go, you need to be running this as a business, not just as a lifestyle. And suddenly we grew it back to 100 people, as profitable as 280. And then we started putting our arms out further and said, to stabilize the business, we need to unite with other great people. So we joined forces with Dentsu, and Tim Andre, as a visionary leader, took us under his wing, and we expanded the business out.
Which goes back to what you were saying earlier about no one person or one company can do it alone. And the challenge we all face in industry, as individuals, as industries, as sectors, as governing bodies, everyone still tries to do it on their own, or take the first leap, or be the biggest balls in that, you know, or boobs, sorry, male or female. And it's so frustrating to watch when, for me, as I reflect every week as I do, the power of what could be
Yeah.
with these beautiful minds.
Oh, it's amazing. And that's why, I actually feel every day when I do the Zooms with the team, I feel blessed. I'm like, in Bali, there's Emma and there's Al and there's Brett and there's Faisal, they're all there. There's Rajiv, all diverse worlds there for me. In Australia, there's Errol and Mark and Sam. And in New York, we've got Michael and Fewley and Shingy. And I'm like, shit, why is this? And Sean, it's why are they here? And they're here because and why they're supporting what we're doing is because we're believing in each other. We're bolstering each other. And we are a kindred quest moving in the right direction. The barn's in its early days, but it's a business that is needed because people need propelling. There's plenty of coaches out there who are 12 years old telling us what we should be doing. That's more that we just need someone to listen to us and help us and support us. What if that coach was now an army of 300, not just individuals, but 300 networks of diverse perspectives to help propel you get there when you needed it, not on tap all the time, but allowing you to really propel. And that's why I think the society communities, there's so much movement now to more purpose-driven communities like Wonderfruit and Potato Head and June and places that are celebrating the power of we. Yeah. But then what are we doing with it is where it's important to me is great. There's so many communities out there.
That's the thing. If you're, even for me, when, I've been, I network a lot every day and there's so many, you should come join this community and meet this community. And then you just go, I actually don't want to speak to another community because I can't, it's just too overwhelming.
Yeah. And I asked the question, how much does that community know about you? And if it's your credit card details, your sexuality and who you're after and what business you're in, they're not right. They don't give a shit about you. If they know what you need, what you fear, what your North Star aspirations are, then great.
That's great advice.
Then you're on and that's why I think the barn and our philosophy is right, because it starts at the center of what is the sense of being of an individual and what is the sense of belonging so you can get there. And how do we just hold each other's hands? Because we can make massive impact in the world. We are an East and West business. We didn't just come from America. The last 3 years has been built in Indonesia, and celebrating qualities of community that are very different than over here. Spirituality, understanding, and I just want to create a safe place that people that want to help propel themselves and their communities and the impact in the world forwards, give them a safe place to not. It's not about us offering a product or service. We're the stage. Others to perform and be uplifted and united with other great talent. We're the stage to help you go forwards. That's it. We're not the answers. We'll give you the processes, the structure, the acceleration, the person or the connection that can help you get there. But you are you. And all you need to do is take off those layers of self-doubt, those layers of not sure who you are, and you can perform and dance and sing and laugh and fucking do it. Because I see it. Every single person that's done the retreat, I have not had one person walk out. I've not had one person say that was terrible. I've not had one person go, I didn't like the people I was with. And they haven't known each other before. They leave going, this is my tribe. This is the kind of people I want to be alongside because they see me.
And that's, that's a really great kind of reflection on actually what are the details that asking when people want to get into your world. Actually, what I'm finding is it's more about they want your network. They want your, who do you want to speak to? It's never really about, well, if we were on our own one-to-one and we were about to live our last 5 minutes, what would we share with each other? And I think that's the thing that's missing for me. And having, I've spoken to Emma and Matt, and so I've heard about the Elevation Barn, and I've heard firsthand what they told me way before I even knew who you were, and we spoke. So Yeah, I think, look, for anybody out there listening today, it would be, please go online, have a look at the Elevation Barn. Yes, of course, COVID's been a bit of a pain in the arse in getting some of these things away, but having spoken to people who've been through it, having looked at the programme and hearing you speak today, I think it's an incredible process that no doubt you will be in numerous countries around the world, before you know it.
Yeah, I think, the 5 countries we're in now are all places of just natural expansion. But we've started doing this virtually now, and we started with a virtual program a year and a half ago for 6 students at the University of St Andrews. So it's not just for people with wealth and the leaders that are at the top that just need extra success. This is for everybody. And when we did the virtually elevated for the St Andrews students, then in their latter year, the results of helping them realize that their career should be based around what they enjoy versus what people think they should be doing. Like even one of the ladies one of those 6, Chloe Lamb, marine biologist, was about to take a secretarial job as her first job in London.
Right.
And we opened her up to a connection that was needing a young, spirited, understanding marine biology, catalyst, great person to help make their business propel. She's now leading an expedition around the archipelago of Indonesia of 8 other explorers for 3 years.
Amazing.
The Biosphere Foundation. And she's leading that expedition because we just took away the blinkers or the weight that said, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Well, why not?
Yeah.
I left to America at 24 with my suit, and people believed in me because the trust believed in us that we would take their badge of honor forwards with honor. And we should be gifting that to everybody else, regardless of age.
Yeah, exactly.
Career.
And it is regardless of age, career, or wealth background, because often you can get lost in this sea of, well, I'd love to be able to do that, and I want to do that, but I didn't have a silver spoon. I haven't been a multimillionaire. And there's so many times that, you kind of sit there and go, I'd love to just spend my time dedicating, be it to, I work with the Prince's Trust and Education Africa, but there's so many things that you want to do, but you just can't, because like you say, you've got that back issue of the money. I've got to get the job, I've got to pay the wages. That lady could very easily have gone to London, taken the secretarial job, been downtrodden because of the rented London, got stuck in that mode, and may never have come out of it.
And most don't. Most realize you spend 30 years building your career, often to go, right, I've got all the talents now, what am I going to do with them? What happens if you started on the first step of the right ladder? Because what happens is you start climbing this career ladder, and what happens when you get to the top of it? It becomes a downward coming escalator, and you end up walking every day to stay in the same place.
Yeah.
But realistically, you may be inches away from being on the ladder that is the right. Every day I'm connected with incredible people doing incredible things just because I get onto the right ladder.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm making more money or spending more money or whatever. It's just I was building the belief behind products and services all my career. That was incredible talents and skills I gained. I've just moved to a ladder of applying them to people now. And people like Rajiv and Ted are all leading these, and Jane are leading these elevation retreats to help people just move on to the right ladder. And then they can just keep going. And it doesn't mean that you have to keep slogging. It's actually celebrating the talents you've got now in the full.
Yeah.
And the connections you've got in the full.
Amazing. Well, listen, I could talk to you for a long time on this, because I think for me, my world is very much about trying to give that confidence to young people starting out, and then equally trying to work with those schools in Africa where, there is no money to have an education. And so there's 2 different kind of angles. But listen, I think it's a fantastic program that you've got going there. Thank you so much for coming on today. And
you're very welcome.
No doubt when I next see Emma in Bali, we'll have a coffee, no doubt. But listen, thank you so much. And if anyone wants to find out about the Elevation Barn, obviously online, any other call outs to help direct people where to go?
Yeah, they can just email at connect@elevationbarn.com. and that will one of our team will reach out and we'll welcome you to be part of this kindred quest to elevate what matters.
Amazing. And my commitment as action is that I will find a way to get through the elevation barn myself. So
you're very welcome.
Me and Emma will work on that. So brilliant. Listen, have an amazing day, and thank you so much again for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Thanks for guiding me through that. It was beautiful. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Enjoy. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
So that's it. You've made it. The show's over. Thank you for being with us. I hope you've been able to take something away, maybe solve a problem, or just know you're not alone. Here's hoping it made you smile with a few laughs along the way. Please feel free to find me on all social media channels, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just search the Road and Morale podcast. Have an awesome day and see you next time.